My guest today is Anetta Johnston. She's passionate about solving the tax issues of her clients by understanding their commercial objectives and strategic goals. She enjoys seeing her clients gain a knowledge of the tax law that can apply to their business.
The best legal advice may not be practical and may not be able to be implemented. Mm-hmm. So I've seen often scenarios where you've got an awesome piece of tax advice, but if the organisation can't implement it for various reasons, then what's the point, right?
Just paid for something that
exactly right.
Use. Currently a partner at KPMG with over 15 years, both in the professional services and legal sector, working in Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney. Anetta's experience has provided her with tax, legal and accounting experience.
To get that recognition from the firm and from your peers that your experience and knowledge and relationships with the clients are valued and how you can make a difference in terms of, you know, the growth of their organisations, the growth of the staff that we work with, and then just generally giving back to both the tax community and just the community at large. So that's definitely been a real highlight of mine. Hi, I'm Anetta Johnston and I'm from KPMG. Join us on the Accountants on Purpose podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bartholomew's from ULegal. The Accountants on Purpose podcast showcases inspiring accountants who are leaders in their field.
And then it just came to me like a bolt of blue.
What makes them tick?
Love it.
How did they get to where they are?
I want to inspire.
And what do they do now for their teams, their clients, and the world? What was the first thing you did this morning, and is it a ritual?
The first thing I did this morning was grab a cup of coffee from our coffee machine, and yes, it's definitely a ritual.
Do you also have coffee on the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. What's your favourite season?
Summer. I love the sun, I love the warmth, and generally so many more things happen during the summer months that are fun.
Yes.
So yeah, love
it. It's
it.
a happy time.
It is. And I think one of the reasons why I love summer is because I used to figure skate when I was younger. So I was constantly in a cold environment. So even if it was the middle of summer, I was in a cold ice rink. So coming out and feeling the warmth on my skin is awesome.
What's the biggest highlight of your childhood?
The biggest highlight would probably be travelling with my family. So my parents would like to take us on road trips.
Yes.
So they would pack the car and get us up ultra early, like 4 or 5 a.m. and off we'd go.
It's very early.
It was early, but Dad used to like getting up early.
And
Still
did
does.
You just sleep in the car?
No, we played games and
you were up.
We were excited. We were really excited, and we'd go to places like the Grampians or Mount Buffalo for some skiing, Lake Eildon, just travelling more of the country, rural type areas where we would go on our road trips. So that was definitely fantastic because we would go on a lot of different experiences that we wouldn't have otherwise really been able to do, being stuck in suburbia. I think. Yeah.
So tell me about how old you were when you came to Australia.
Sure. So I came to Australia when I was 5 years old, and we came from Poland. So at the time that we were leaving Poland under the communist regime, and this is just before they closed the borders, my parents had organised someone to provide us with some sort of passports, on the side, because it wasn't done through the ordinary channels. And we went to Austria first as refugees and then came into Australia also as refugees. So, yeah.
And came straight to South Australia?
We did, yeah, came straight to South Australia, yeah. Got a interesting story. My dad had been working in Germany whilst I was little, and there wasn't a lot of toys that were available in Poland, and he gave me this toy cat, just like a fluffy sort of animal. And as we were leaving Poland, my mum, who was fantastic in sewing, she'd unstitched the cat and put all of our money in there because you couldn't take too much money like between the borders. And it was the time before, the X-ray machines and who's going to suspect a 4 or 5 year old child carrying a stuffed animal that it could contain money. So I was able to take that across from Poland into Australia, and then Mum didn't tell me about that until I was much older, and I've still got that cat.
Yes.
My daughter plays with it. It's awesome.
Oh, restuffed.
Yeah. Oh no, it hasn't been restuffed. it's on its last legs. It's sort of like, lost an eye, lost its tail a couple of times, but it's our heirloom. It's our sort of token of how we came into this country. Yeah,
that's so special. You have to, I don't know, make sure it doesn't fall off the Popeye or something.
That's right. That's right. No, it's hidden. It's hidden now because the kids are a bit too rough with it, I think. Yeah,
as kids are.
Absolutely.
So you have a law degree and a commerce degree. Describe what led from one to the other.
Okay, so it was around the time when Flinders University were offering for the first time the opportunity to get into law and commerce and do a double degree and sort of be involved in the legal program from your first year. So that I was involved in the second intake. And I think from a really young age, I was fascinated by the law, like what you could and couldn't do and why those particular rules were in place.
Are you an oldest child?
I am an oldest child. And during school, I was also really good with numbers.
Yes.
And so I thought combining the legal degree with a sort of commerce numbers degree would be really good just for future career aspects. I just thought being a lawyer would be cool.
Very mature of you to have that forward thinking, I think.
I don't look, to be honest, I wouldn't have had that forward thinking, like whilst I was in high school, but I think you sort of fall into it and go, oh, actually this was a good decision because there are opportunities.
That come out of it.
Yeah. And I think also because my family had come from, a country where it was difficult to sort of, progress and, that communist sort of environment, they wanted me to have the best opportunities here. And I thought at the time that a law and commerce degree had that prestige, but it also had the ability to provide with various career paths.
Yeah.
So,
ingenious. That was one reason I did law as well. I thought I saw it a little bit, and maybe it even is more now, but as a glorified arts degree. And I never thought I wanted to be a lawyer. But then when I started, I loved it more than I enjoyed studying even. So it's just like lucky, I think.
And it's interesting because my parents expected me to go into law straight away. And because I had that commerce background and once I did a tax subject at uni, I thought, wow, I love this. This is really, really fascinating. My first job was at KPMG, which is, an accounting professional services firm. And my parents went, well, what do you mean you're not a lawyer? And I said, well, I've got a law degree and I'm doing sort of, some, legal work because you need to interpret the law from a, tax perspective.
Yeah.
They just couldn't understand it.
How it worked together.
Yeah, that's right. So isn't it interesting how you sort of set out on one particular path and then go, I think I'll change it.
Yeah. Pivot.
That's right.
How has having experience in both law and accounting shaped your career?
So I work as a tax advisor, and I think tax advisors need to broadly understand other aspects of the law and commercial negotiations and dealings before they can provide really good practical and technical advice. So I think having the legal background has really meant that I'm able to, understand property law, contract law, and read commercial agreements and then actually overlay the tax aspects over the top of that, because the law comes first and tax law is just over the top.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real plus in terms of that I've found that has been beneficial in my career. And I think having worked in KPMG, the accounting background, you get a real understanding for the granular, and the best legal advice may not be practical and may not be able to be implemented. So I've seen often scenarios where you've got an awesome piece of tax advice, but if the organisation can't implement it for various reasons, then
what's the point?
What's the point, right?
Just paid for something that
exactly
can't
right.
use.
So having that experience from that accounting perspective, and it's sort of like end to end, you really understand what can and can't be done. So I think working in the accounting profession, it really lets you, get your hands dirty and really dive into the detail and implement the opinions and advice that you are sort of providing at the outset.
Much more practically.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. And I think the other thing is, in one of my previous roles, I worked a lot with tax office audits and disclosures, and that was really interesting to see how necessary it is to get things right during the course of a deal or a transaction, so that at the end of the day, if a regulator comes in to do a review, then you've put everything in place at the time that it was being done.
Unwound.
So I think having that sort of legal hat on, knowing what may happen at the end, has shaped how I approach things during the course of transactions or just general work that we're doing for clients.
Yeah, that's right. You've kind of got the end in mind and what could, and what could happen, and you've seen what can go wrong.
That's right.
And it's just not worth having that happen. You want to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having that forward thinking in terms of, well, if we do this, what may or may not occur, and are you happy as a client to take those risks?
Yeah. Well, nothing happens without taking risk, does it? So we talked about your highlight as a child. What's been your highlight of your working life so far?
I think the main highlight has been being promoted to a partner at KPMG. Thank you. So I think probably because it's been very exciting, but also really humbling for to get that recognition from the firm and from your peers that your experience and knowledge and relationships with the clients are valued, and how you can make a difference in terms of the growth of their organisations, the growth of the staff that we work with, and then just generally giving back to both the tax community and just the community at large. So that's definitely been a real highlight of mine. It was a hard slog,
I'm sure,
but
it
was really good to get there in the end.
Once you get the title, it doesn't stop being a hard slog.
That's right. It's just something
not like climbing a
different.
mountain and then you get to come down the other side.
Yeah. But it does hurt when you walk down the mountain. I have experienced it before. Your legs feel like jelly when you reach the end.
It is harder sometimes.
Yeah.
So in the lead up to becoming a partner, did you find that lots of opportunities were coming your way in terms of being on boards or different ways to give back within the firm?
Yeah, I think definitely it has really amped up in terms of the opportunities that are presented once I became partner.
Okay, so after that.
I think after.
Well, you were also on the front of the Australian Financial Review that day.
I was.
So your profile kind of went through the roof.
It did go through the roof, and I do remember that day where I actually didn't know that it was going to be on the front page, and actually no one within the firm knew that it was going to be on the front page. So when I was interviewed by the Fin Review journalist, he asked some sort of questions about my background and my career.
Yes.
And I remember I had a late night the night before, and I knew that the story was coming out that week. And I'd slept in and my mobile was just going off, and I was thinking, wonder what's going on. And someone had sent me a photo, and I thought, oh my gosh.
The front page.
It was a fun experience.
Yeah.
It really was a fun experience. So tick it off the bucket list.
Definitely. I mean, I don't think many people get to tick that off the bucket list.
It wasn't actually on the bucket list to start with, but it became the bucket list after it had occurred. So, I had one interesting comment from a client that he said that you have to aim for a 60 minutes interview next.
Yeah.
Ooh, what would you say?
For 60 minutes.
I'm not that interesting.
I don't know. I reckon the cover of Boss magazine could be good.
Oh, that could be good. That could be good. Why not? Got to aim high.
I think so.
And say yes.
Well, that's the thing. It's, I think, for me, sometimes hard to know what to say yes to. Because when we're saying yes to things, you're often saying no to something else, because really time is what's finite in our lives. So I don't know if you struggle with that.
Absolutely. time intensive some of these things are that you say, yes, I'd like to, enjoy that experience or help out, give back, etc. And I'm the sort of person that does like to say yes to most of the opportunities that come my way, because you never know what's going to happen.
I know what it would lead to.
What else it will lead to, or it might just be a fun experience that no one else gets to do. Yeah. So I definitely struggle with that, and I try and pack as much as I can into the days. But I think what I'm learning is that. Just making sure that I'm looking after myself, and when I am presented with those opportunities, is it something that aligns with values? Is it something that may or may not lead to bigger things?
One thing I've been really surprised about when I join a new board, somebody's told me it's a 1 day a month commitment. But particularly in the early stages, it seems to be more like a kind of 1 week a month commitment, because it, for me, takes a lot of time to kind of get up to speed with who everyone is, what everyone does, what the risk tolerance of the business is, who has been on the board before that I can talk to kind of get the lay of the land. So I don't know if you've found that with experiences that you've had, or if you're just cleverer than me and can jump straight into things.
Do you know what I think it is, Sarah? That we care so much and we want to do the best job possible. That
maybe other people wing it a bit more.
Yeah, maybe, but I find that I often over-prepare. Because I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything and I'm doing the best job that I can.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes to my detriment because of the over-preparation and over-stress. For example, just presenting to, committees or boards or just public presentations, they take a lot of time. And like you said, you think initially, a paper or a short presentation, that's not going to take me long, it's 15 minutes. And then the thinking and the preparation and exploring what other people have done and whatnot, I think that leads to a greater time chunk being taken away. And I think, well, for me personally, I think you might be similar, is that it is that perfectionism streak in us.
That's also, I think, driven into professionals. That they do have to be perfect. And
Absolutely. I think the standards are really high, and I think the expectations of clients and just general firms that we're working with are a lot higher. And I think because of the access to technology and the information that is available just broadly in the community, I think, as a tax advisor, that information is now publicly available on the internet. So our clients can have a look at that information, get background, get a deep understanding, and then come to us for an opinion and to an insight. And so sometimes you find yourself thinking, well, I know a bit about this topic, but I need to delve in a lot deeper to be able to answer the question. And that is time consuming. And you want to give the client the best response that will help them on their journey that they're taking.
Definitely. So do you also take time out? So I've been thinking about us and professionals in terms of athletes. And I know that athletes take time to rest. They're high performance when they need to be, but they also have a cadence where they rest. School holidays?
Not really.
No, either do I.
No.
I think it's something we need to look at.
No, but I've probably in the last 12 months, it has been a topic that I've really been thinking about, and particularly around sleep. There's a lot of information now available that, you can't really survive on, 4 to 5 hours sleep on a long-term basis, because it is actually detrimental in the long run.
Sleep's one of my non-negotiables.
So I've only recently started going to bed a lot earlier, which means that I can wake up earlier and go to the gym or just sit and have my coffee in peace.
Have thinking time.
Just have some thinking time and reflection time. So I think I'm becoming better at that. And in terms of, taking out time for myself, probably during the day I try and take that time out, whether it's just going for a walk around the block or sitting and reading some interesting articles that you might not read otherwise. But, doing some exercise. I love reading books, constantly reading books.
That's good.
And I've always read books from when I was really little. And I think that's why I enjoyed law, because it was so much to read,
reading.
Which was brilliant.
What are you reading now?
I'm reading a book called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, I think it is. And it's funny because he actually says that you should wake up at 5 a.m. and spend the first 20 minutes exercising, the next 20 minutes sort of journaling your sort of thoughts, good or bad.
Yes.
And then the last 20 minutes in terms of growth of yourself.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know whether I can actually get up at 5 a.m. every day. It is very early, but the key is, I think, going to bed early.
So when I've been writing my books, that's how I do it. So I would wake up at 5 and write between 5 and 6 every day for 30 days. And then you 1,000 words every day for 30 days is 30,000 words.
And I think that is that discipline and commitment. And so you talk about athletes before in terms of, resting. Resting and sort of reaching their peak. But it is that consistency that I think helps you achieve your goal. Because, you can read so many books on how to do something, but if you don't put it in practice and consistently apply yourself, well, you don't get anywhere. And that's with everything, I think.
I haven't read the 5 a.m. Club, but I have a very similar morning routine to that. So I run for 20 minutes, 3 kilometres. I'm a pretty slow runner. I do journal, but not quite for 20 minutes. I do a gratitude journal, a page of it while I'm having my breakfast. And I don't read for 20 minutes, which I think is that probably, but I listen to something uplifting, whether it's chicken soup for the soul while I'm doing my makeup or try and fit it in so it's realistic without having to wake up at 5.
You don't need to read the book. You're doing it already, Sarah.
I'm writing the book.
Wow. I'm impressed.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know. So I think I've picked that up from different things I've been to along the way and then just adapted it. But it sets me up for a great day. So I think it's a good practice, but I don't think it needs to be 20-20-20. You can probably get away with 10, 10, 10.
And I think I'll sort of talk about, 20-20-20, which is quite rigid, but, you can adapt it to what suits your lifestyle and how you like to do things.
I think so. So where do you see yourself in 10 years getting more sleep?
In 10 years getting more sleep. I really enjoy what I do at the moment. I think as I get older and learn to say no to things that I know I should say no to, I think I'll be able to, rest a bit more and commit time to doing, other things with my family or fun things.
Maybe road trips.
Maybe, we do road trips, but not enough of them, and they're brilliant. I love them. Maybe the first female chair of KPMG.
Oh, that's
I'm
putting it out there.
Put it out there into the universe.
That would be incredible.
That might be something, 10 years, but always have to aim for something, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Put it out there.
Very cool. How are you spending this weekend?
Sports with the children. So daughter does calisthenics and my son's starting soccer, which is fantastic. But it's my husband's birthday this weekend.
Excellent.
So I'm sure we'll be doing various celebratory things with him. And I think he deserves it.
What would you say to 18-year-old Anetta?
Relax and enjoy the successes that come your way because of the hard work that you've put in. I think when I look back, I have always been on a journey to do the next thing, achieve the next goal.
Definitely.
And I think not taking enough time to stop and say, wow, I have achieved what I set out to achieve and celebrate that particular achievement. So that's definitely what I'd say to my younger self.
Love it. Done. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast today. If you're still listening, you can find the show notes on our website, ulegal.com.au. You're welcome to go ahead and subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with anyone that you think might benefit from it, anyone that you think is open to helping us create a world with a purpose that's higher than profit. If you're an accountant on purpose, feel free to find our Facebook page and join our community.